Leonard Kondowe. Leonard Kondowe. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to our second podcast. This is only our second podcast. Now, we're very privileged to have you here today because you are the National Manager for Property Finance of the entire Rawson Group. Is that correct?
That's 100% correct. Thank you.
Fantastic. This show is all about everything property. We're trying to educate our audience on everything property.
Good idea.
And I'm pretty excited about today's episode. Last week, I was a bit nervous because it was our first one, but I've kind of dusted off those nerves now. But I'm excited about this one because how to acquire property finance is, I think, a topic that our market and our audience, especially in the Grassy Park and surrounding areas, want to know more about. Let's start with telling us a little bit about your journey, how you got to Rawson, and then let's talk about, bond finance and what you do at Rawson in general.
Great. No, Clint, thank you very much for having me here. It's really great. As you said, my name is Leonard Kondowe. Just a bit of myself. I was with Vodacom for about 2 years. From there on, I worked for a company called Bond which also is an origination company. They do property financing, and I wasn't there for long. And then I was invited to join the Rawson Properties Group, and that was in 2008. Yes. And I've been with the group since then. Now it's been about 17 years, 6 months, and over 2 weeks.
To the day,
Yeah, so yeah, it has been a journey, exciting journey, incredible growth with all the opportunities that have presented themselves, and also the phenomenal growth that this particular group has witnessed. And I'm very excited and appreciative that I've been part of that journey. Yeah. And so, in a nutshell, Rawson Finance is an in-house origination company.
Yeah, so talk about that. What is a bond originator?
Yeah, so a bond originator, it's like you would consider a broker who goes on your behalf to different financial institutions trying to secure a better deal for you. In a better deal, we're referring to your higher loan to value percentages, a better interest rate. So a client comes to us, I say, I need you to assist me securing property finance. So we would go to different banks that we work with, your Investec, RMB, FNB, Standard Bank, yep, Absa, Nedbank, and all the big banks, yes, that you know of. And then once we put the application together, we submit on client's behalf, and then we will wait for different quotations from all various banks. And once we get those, we obviously negotiate on the client's behalf in terms of the rate, in terms of the higher loan to values, and any terms of business that you would think of to make it a better deal for the client. So that's what we do. Interesting.
So those banks are basically competing for that client's business.
Exactly. That's what happens. So what we keep on telling the clients, that you've got all to gain, nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
So what we do, we submit on the client's behalf, and it costs the client nothing. We will negotiate on their behalf, and we'll submit to all these banks and trying to make sure that we get the best possible deal for the client. The advantage for the client is once a credit manager on Bank A understands that this application comes from an originator, a Rawson Finance, they are aware that another bank is also looking at that very same application. So they need to bring their A game. They need to make sure that they are giving the best possible deal for the client.
I can only talk off the back of my own experience. I know when I purchased a property, I thought having my own banker, supposedly, whether it's a private bank or not, you go to your bank and you think you're going to get a good deal because you've been doing business with this bank for many, many years, in some cases decades, right? And then I learn about this bond originator thing, exactly what you're explaining now, and I never knew I could have gotten an even better rate if I had done it that way, because they're competing for the business.
You see, Clint, that's a very good point that you're raising. What I want everybody to understand is that if you go to your bank yourself directly, what does that mean? It simply means that you've got nothing else to compare. Your bank will offer you a deal based on your internal profile with that particular bank, right? What does that mean? It simply means that if you've got a good internal score with that bank, those banks will give you what you would call a normal deal.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else that you can compare with. But I mean, if you go to I can tell you this, 9 out of 10 clients, they tend to get better deals from other banks than their own bank. Okay? And what is...
But that's almost laughable. Do you know what I mean? You've been giving them business for all this time, and then you get a better from a different bank.
Exactly. And so the advantage of you using now an originator is that your own bank may not end up giving you a better deal, so to speak. And then the other banks will give you a better deal, far better than your own bank. And then you may find that your bank, they want to retain you as a client. So our duty is to make sure we go back to that bank, say, your client is keen staying with you, but another bank is giving this client a far better deal than what you're giving. Can you now give this client a better deal? It's up to you. You can't match. You need to better what it is. So it's all beneficial to the client at the end of the day.
So you're giving them so much bargaining power.
Exactly. That's the whole point.
Absolutely incredible. I love it. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about is, that process. Is it a tedious one? Because the bank's got all of my particulars already. But if I'm going through an originator, how tedious is that process?
It's not. It's as easy as you can imagine. So the good thing about you using an originator is that you come to us and we'll give you what you call a minimum list of documentation that we require. So there's one form, one Rawson Finance form that you as a client will complete. It doesn't matter whether if you qualify for an Investec product, RMB, Standard Bank, whichever bank, you don't have to complete their individual forms. You just complete one form. And that form, with that list of documents that we've requested from you, we're going to submit to all the banks at the same time. So it makes it so much easier than you running around and going to Bank A with their forms and then Bank B with their own forms. While with us, it's just one set of documents and then we submit to different banks at the same time.
I love it. And what are all those documents? It's the one-page application form.
Yeah, so our application is... because you need to comply. There are a whole lot of consents that clients must give, because you remember there will be credit checks and all that, and we cannot do that without client giving us authorization. So you need to know the client's history. Normally it's 2 pages, 3 pages in total. So it's a home loan application, copy of the identity document. If you're a salaried individual, it will be pay slips and bank statements that you sorted. But if you are self-employed, obviously your list of documents are much more longer than what you would normally sort of get if you're a salaried individual. So for self-employed, you need an accountant letter confirming how much you are deriving from that particular business as an income. And you need financials, comparable financials that we need to submit with. And also business bank statements and your personal bank statements as well. And normally also there will be your personal assets and liability form. It's a one-pager form that you can have, and then we put all that together for submission.
So sounds pretty standard. Once you've done that, Rawson Finance takes care of the rest.
That's it. So once you've done that, we'll tell the client after our initial interview, we have to ask the client, what do you do? This is the kind of job I do. And we say, okay, so where does his income or her income comes from? Once we've established that, and then we've collected that information, we package it together, we structure the application in a way that it meets what the client need and what the bank obviously would consider as a successful application, so that they've got all the information at their disposal in order for them to make an informed decision.
Brilliant. This reminds me of a story. In fact, we had one of our clients come to Rawson Properties Grassy Park, and they were interested in one of our listings, one of the properties that we had in our books that we were marketing. And they wanted to go via their own banker. No, actually what happened was they were already pre-qualified from their own bank. This person had a private banker, came to us and said, we're pre-qualified, this is the interest rate I've been given by my private banker. We told them about Rawson Finance. And we said, it wouldn't hurt to try Rawson Finance and then compare what you've received from your private banker at your existing bank versus what Rawson Finance comes back with you. They got a better interest rate than what their private banker provided them. That was amazing. But the process was simple. Because once they handed in their documentation, there was great communication between Rawson Finance, your department, and our estate agent and our customer.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
No, we love those stories, Clinton, and we've made a huge difference and strides in making sure that we make this journey for our buyers or all the clients out there as well, that as less stressful as possible. And when it comes to private bankers and all that, remember, private bankers are not home loan specialists. They've got a whole lot of suite of products that they need to master and make sure that they provide to their clients. While your Rawson Finance consultants, they don't sell any other products. It's just home loans.
Sole focus.
It's focus. So you've got what you call, they're a specialist in their product that they're offering. They're not selling any other thing apart from that. And that's what makes it unique and great. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, the remarkable thing about the customer experience for this particular customer in question was the fact that they've saved so much in terms of their monthly bond installment. And I think that's what it's about, right? Customers don't really care what the interest rate is. It's how much am I going to be paying every single month.
And you know what, it may seem small. If you work out, the differences in that little concession that you're gonna get, if you work out in the lifespan of your bond, I promise you it adds up to a whole lot more. It makes a huge difference. Absolutely. And it's important, that's why we say to the clients, we're here to fight for you in making sure that we save you money, not just now, but in the long run as well. So every single rand that we can save the client, that's our mission.
That's an excellent point. Whether it's 500 Rand or 300 Rand or 1,000 Rand, times 12, times 20, if that's the lifespan of the home loan, that's a lot of money.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah, so I think it's worth a shot, and that's why we're so proud to be partnered with this division of the Rawson Property Group, Rawson Finance and Rawson Properties Grassy Park working together to make sure that we give our clients the best possible opportunity to get a really, really good deal. Now, let's shift a little bit. FLISP, FLISP. What is that about? Our customers, our audience wants to know.
To know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's very important. So, there's been a whole lot of the cries out there whereby a lot of people, they're expecting government to, some that they can assist, the buyers, or not the buyers, but just individuals with subsidies and stuff. Yeah. So there's what you call a missing middle. So the state then said, you know what, there are individuals that they can afford to buy their own, to pay their own bond. So then they came up with this particular product to say, look, for those ones earning between 3,500 and 22,000 as a household income, these individuals, we can try, and it's a tiered sort of a subsidy, whereby you as an individual, if you qualify, you need to have dependent, you must never have benefited from the state before in terms of housing, and also you need to be able to have that income between the 3,500 and 22,000. And once you qualify for that, you've got a dependent as well. Once you qualify for that, so the higher your income, obviously the lesser your subsidy gonna be. Yes. But here's the thing that one needs to know. FLISP is not just about you buying a house and all that. So if you've got the land, right, that is registered in your name on whatever it is, and you want to build and you qualify in terms of the income, this FLISP, it can also help you to build. Right. Yes, it can help you to build. So what is important, the money is not going to be given to you in your pocket. That's very, very important for people to understand. Yeah. So you're buying a house, you qualify for the FLISP. What happens once you've qualified, they've done the assessment and they've approved, you must have the bond in place. If you've got the bond in place, that money will now be sent to the transferring attorney so they can send it later on into the bond account. The important thing, that money cannot be paid to you, your personal account and all that. But those funds can be used towards your transfer fees and your bond costs, and it can be used towards your deposit, which makes a huge difference in terms of affordability for clients, and also in terms of shortening the repayment term as well for the bond. Remember, so it's a game changer for those ones in the affordable segment as well. It has really made a huge difference to those that have qualified.
Do you know of any incredible stories where customers have used FLISP successfully via Rawson Finance?
No, definitely. Even last week I had one, this lady, obviously the affordability was tight. She managed to get a bond, but obviously looking at the escalation of prices and things like that, you need to look at the long-term affordability. Can this client be able to sustain repaying this loan, the bond that they've gotten? And we applied for the FLISP, and the client managed to get financing. And there are more and more stories whereby FLISP program has made a huge difference. I must admit as well, the program hasn't been always smooth sailing, because as a public funds, it's always subject to availability of funding, right? And you find that people apply, and it takes long sometimes, but I see time and time again, they are perfecting the process. And you're seeing that some of the approvals, they don't take that long. They're becoming quicker and quicker, while before the process was so cumbersome. So there's so much good stories that we've experienced, even us at Rawson Finance, in terms of clients that we've tried to assist, so that at least they can benefit from this program.
So the minimum to qualify for FLISP, the minimum salary, household income.
It's a household income.
Right, combined household income.
Yes, combined.
It's 3,000
Yeah,
rand?
3.5 up to 22 as a max.
Up to 22.
Yeah, that you're looking at that. Those are your maximum that you're looking at, yes.
Okay,
so it must be that household income, but there are all those other qualifying criteria, one of which you must have never benefited from the state housing program before, and you mustn't have owned a house before, that kind of thing. So it's a good program.
Leonard, in closing, let me just talk about this, because there are many customers who really want to own a home, and they earning a really good salary, but there's been some blemishes on their credit record, their credit scores, etc. What happens in that process? So, what can they do?
Yeah, so Clint, as we all know, it's important that we all understand at any point of your journey or your career and stuff, as human beings, we will go through financial difficulties. And the banks do understand that aspect as well, that at times things may not always go smooth. So you find that some clients may have an impaired credit profile. And once that has happened, what is important is that you don't bury your head in the sand. You need to take action. And the actions are, if you're planning to buy, you need to take steps. Positive steps. What do you do? Number one, make sure that you understand what is the problem. What are the challenges, right? So as a client, firstly, you need to make sure that you are in a position whereby you have identified what the challenges are, what is causing your credit score to be not great, and then you start addressing those ones. It's also important that, we as clients or as the general public, we understand once you've entered into an agreement in terms of credit agreement, you honor those ones. I'll give an example. So when you're signing a document to say that you're gonna pay your loan, your repayment debt is the first of every single month, right? And then the first comes, you don't pay, and then you're paying the third. In your mind, you're saying that I'm paying, but remember, you're paying now outside the cycle that you were meant to pay.
2 days late, basically.
2 days late, or 3 days late, or 5 days. But if that becomes a norm, obviously that's going to affect your credit score. It's going to affect your profile. Remember, if that is the case, and you say, but I'm paying, yes, you are paying, but you're paying late. Now the banks and the lenders will start, labeling you as a late payer. And that is not good for you, because now that affects your overall credit profile. But what is important, that if you are going through challenges, it's always important. Speak to your lenders, advising them that right now I'm going through this, but I'm intending to do that, or to sort out all these issues. Once you've entered into that agreement and you've made that commitment, make sure that you're sticking to that commitment.
Honor it, absolutely.
Very important.
No, very important. But I just want to tell our audience too that it is possible to clean up our act, our credit record, of course.
It is. So it's always important. Once you've got an act, it's something that you can go through, look at it, and then you say, you know what, these are the challenges. I've got 2 or 3 accounts that I was behind. I've listed that I'm 3 months in arrears. Make sure that you sort those out before you even look at it. These are my challenges. You pay those ones up to date, and then you wait a bit, and then you start the process. It's possible, yes.
Leonard, again, I'm only on the show, I'm only going to speak about my own experiences. I had 4 bad judgments on my name when I was younger and a lot more irresponsible, paying late or not paying at all. I managed to clean that up, clear that up, paid it up, got the paid up letter, went to the High Court myself, put in the application with the clerk and the magistrate, and then waited 30 days, and then those judgments were removed. And it enabled me to get bond finance and property credit in the future, and I was able to own a home. So it is possible.
Yeah, it is, as I said. And one thing you must also understand, the banks do not operate in vacuum.
Yeah.
They operate within our societies. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is they know people go through difficult times sometimes. Yes. And also it may also happen that, like in 2008, we had financial difficulties. And banks would understand to say, okay, so you had a problem here, what happened? And you say, I lost my job, or whatever it is. 2020, it was COVID, people lost jobs and stuff. And obviously, a whole lot of people, credit profiles were affected by those. Yeah. And banks also do understand that. Yeah. That's why we come in. We can always put motivations together, explaining what transpired. And then, what is important in your case, after your judgment was rescinded, what happened to that? You had to make sure that you are now maintaining a favorable credit profile. That's important. There's no point you paying up whatever debt you had, and then all of a sudden you go back to that.
Correct.
That's a problem.
And final point, this is so interesting. I've just got to ask one more question or raise one more topic. I had a friend once. He had a really good job and a really good salary. It was time for him to own a property. So he went out to the banks or to an originator to gain finance. But he had no credit history. He didn't have one single account. He believed in buying everything cash. But this, obviously he didn't have enough cash for this house, so he had to go and get bond finance. They declined him. So what they told him was that, no, we have to have a credit history for you. So what he needed to go and do was open a Vodacom contract account, show credit history for about 6 months, and then go back and apply for finance. Is that something that must happen?
Yeah, so the reason why I'm just going to go a little bit back for you to remind you. You must remember the banks, they don't know you and I personally, right? And for them, they rely on what appears on the credit bureau. So in order for them to give you money, they are looking at, okay, so Clint is earning this much. He can afford, he's earning good money. But now let's check what kind of a man is he, right? Now when they look at that, say, but hey, Pana, this guy's profile doesn't seem that positive. No. He's too much of a risk. We cannot give him money. So in order for them to be comfortable knowing that what kind of a person you are, they need to see, can you pay back the money once you've been, a credit has been extended to you? Hence, it's very important. If you don't have to go get debt for the sake of getting debt, but it must be something that is beneficial to you. Hence, we say even have a small store account. Make sure you, even if it's 120 rand a month and whatever it is, but as long as you're building a profile, remember that's important. Banks do not know us personally, but they see what appears on the bureau that measures what kind of person you are. Can you pay back your debt? And if they're seeing that you are able to do that, that makes them comfortable as well. When they are pricing, when they're doing their risk analysis on you, that makes them feel very, very comfortable and they can lend you the money.
Beautiful. Leonard, National Manager of Property Finance for the entire Rawson Property Group, it's been a pleasure. I'm sure there are loads of nuggets in here for our audience to take away, to be educated and to make better and informed decisions. Thank you so much.
Much appreciated.
All right.
Okay,
Cheers.
man. Sure.
So that's it, the end of our second episode, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. This is Clint Klauster from Rawson Properties Grassy Park, joined by Leonard from Rawson Finance. Signing off. You take care. Stay safe.